Site grading and drainage issues are a big deal. Just to tell you how much water is coming down on a roof and coming out your downspouts, a 1-inch rain on a 1,500 square foot roof is 1,000 gallons. That's like a kid's 8-foot swimming pool, 3 feet deep, and that's going to drain along your foundations every time you get a one-inch rain. Think about that. That's where all that water pressure comes from. That's where all that weeping and all the problems it causes. Get that downspout water away. A basement is a swimming pool in reverse. It's trying to hold the water out, keep the plug down in the drain. But site grading issues, just real quickly. This is a house that I looked at in Kirkwood, and the water pressure had actually pushed this house off its foundations. The water had come down the hillside here. This is the patio, and it poured across the patio. I happened to be out there on a rainy day, and then it ran against the house here, and this is what the basement looked like. And if you look at this picture over here with the window, that window was like a trapezoid because the house was scooting on its foundation. It had rotted foundations with termites and everything, and it was actually pushing the house down the hill. This was an almost not salvageable house. Is this a deal to walk away from? Would you spend $400 or $500 for an inspection, have an engineer come out and look at your next deal to make sure you don't get into something like this? This was a huge deal. And then simple structural repairs, I see this all the time. The plumbers come in and they want to run their pipes for their new plumbing system. That's your jacuzzi tub upstairs. It's got 1,000 gallons, well, it's got 100 gallons of water in it, weighs 1,000 pounds. They cut the doggone wood joists down in the basement. You might have your tub and everybody in the basement the first time you use it. Most of the time you can just sister on new wood joists. You do need some engineering involved with that, especially in the city of St. Louis. They'll want a signed, sealed, simple little drawing. Usually it's just $400 or $500 to do something like that. I have guys that do it, or I could do it for you. But you can also add columns. There's different strategies. That's just a 4x4 column. Let's make sure it's attached at the top. It's fastened to the floor with the right engineering. Some of these structural repairs can be real easy, real cheap, real simple, real quick with a carpenter. So don't let stuff like this scare you away. This is how you get the deals, because nobody else wants to mess with this. They're scared to death of it. This is where you pick up the deal. Some more structural repairs, typical turn-of-the-century house. Can't remember when this one is, down by the Botanical Gardens. But you can see over here, the plumber put in the new plumbing and he cut straight through the 2x12 joist. There's nothing there. And he cut it in the wrong place. Guess where it's at? In those old houses, you've got a mud slab where they set the tub in a mud slab so it drains. So you got thousands of pounds of concrete up there. Then you come along, you put in your new tub. It's 100 pounds. Water's 500 pounds. A couple of friends and a box of wine in the tub the first night. And they're in the basement. It's priceless. And because your plumber came through and saved $500 or $100 or whatever, you've got a lawsuit and you've got a huge mess. But you can pick up great deals on houses that have these kind of repairs if you know what to do and you know who to call. And then here's where we really get to the good part. This is the eye candy part of rehabbing houses. This was a house down on Flad that I looked at about 6 months ago or so. South City, typical house, 100 years old, lots of things to look at. This rehabber put in a beautiful kitchen. You walk in and it is wow factor. You go, wow, this is a 100-year-old house. And he did everything right on the interiors. He renovated the fireplaces. They were checked, they were clean, they were certified, they're usable. Beautiful bar there, and all the outside was tuck pointed. The roof was fixed and repaired. Beautiful house. He preserved some of that 100-year-old work that they did when they really did craftsmanship, and just a beautiful house to look at. He added some special features. I thought this was really, really cool. He had a window upstairs and he had an old attic that a lot of times is just unusable space. You're going to put your Christmas decorations up there. He turned this into like a penthouse apartment / party room. I've seen these on the high-rise buildings down by Forest Park where you're paying, $10,000 a month rent. He built a little set of stairs, punched through the window. He's got a third floor deck. You can see the arch in downtown. And this is the upstairs. It's a party room or a mother-in-law apartments or whatever you need it to be. That house sold fast, a couple months, bam. He also had a junky old garage in the back. He could have spent $5,000 or $10,000 trying to fix this 100-year-old garage and it would still be a mess. He tore it down and he put in a garage port. Anybody doing garage ports out here? Anybody seen them? It's kind of new to me. I've seen a few. They're about half the price of a garage. In the back, you've got the security of the power-operated door. You've got fences with gates on either side. On the back side here, your car is covered, but it happens to be open to the weather. It's just a carport to keep the sun and the snow and the ice and everything off. That is a great way to fix a junky old garage, and it's the wow factor again. People love it. And some unusual houses, I just wanted to throw these out here. Stephen knows all too well about this one because we brought in a team to help our buyers. I work with my buyer's agent and I work with the buyers. This was a 200-year-old log cabin out in Concord Village. It had sat on the market for about a year. If you've looked and tried to buy houses down there, you might have gone through it and seen it yourself. It's a cool house, but the underside, the basement was old fieldstones. It's what they had in South County 200 years ago in 1804 when this house was built. They cut trees, they split them down the middle like Abe Lincoln, flipped those trees over and had the flat part for the floor supports, and you had half a tree as your floor joists, okay? Well, that flipped everybody out because there was some insect damage, some termite damage, and some water damage. So we brought in an engineer and got him to certify it. We put in a couple extra floor joists, flattened out the floors because the buyers were concerned about the squeaky, uneven floors of a log cabin. And we closed the deal, and I think everything included waterproofing, structural engineering, the new joists, leveling out the floors, and I think new carpets, which was part of what they wanted to do to close the deal in their mind, was $17,000. They had a $20,000 budget for it, closed the deal, and sold this 200-year-old log cabin-based house by helping our buyer, by helping our buyer's agent through the process, and to give them a warm fuzzy that everything is fixable. Don't panic. Even a 200-year-old log cabin is fixable. And then another quick one, I call this Surfs Up in Lafayette Square. Nick actually looked at this house. A couple of guys took basically a four-family flat in Lafayette Square. They took out the second floor. What's that? It's absolutely bizarre. Yeah, it's a bizarre thing. They took out the second floor. They cut these big skylights in the ceiling, and they had to have spent at least $50,000 on a poured-in-place concrete pool on one half of the house. This is the new concrete foundation walls for the new pool. This is the old foundation wall that separates, goes right down the middle of the house. My investor came to me and says, Wes, you got to come out and take a look at this. What do I do with this thing? And he says, I've gotten some bids. I'm like $5,000 to $10,000 to hammer out this pool. And I said, wait a minute, you don't want to hammer, you're going to get a backhoe in here and hammer this concrete? You're going to rattle this 120-year-old house down to the ground. Don't do that. I said, you've got the only dry basement in St. Louis if you keep the cork in the bottom of the pool. So what we did was work with an engineer buddy of mine. Stephen came in and looked at the waterproofing again. And we're gonna leave the pool. We're gonna build some little shelves and stuff, put steps down the slope part of the pool, and we're gonna do a raised floor over the pool because I've got 12-foot ceilings down there. Put the second floor back in. This is all leasable, usable space. And if my investor in a few years, he wants to flip this building, so simple to take out these floors and bring it back to this pool level if I get a guy that wants $1 million Lafayette mansion with a pool on one side. So I think we saved him a whole bunch of headaches, simple repair costs, simple engineering, and he's got a great deal. It's under rehab right now as we speak. Here's our 200-year-old log cabin house. You'd never know it from the outside, The core of the house was the log cabin, and they had planed and finished and stained these walls like furniture on the inside. So it was just beautiful. And here's a little history of the house. It was the Musick Tice House. If anybody knows South County, you'll know Musick Road and you'll know Tice Road. This is one of the original homesteads in St. Louis County. So my buyers ended up with a 200-year-old home with log cabin. They've got a huge piece of St. Louis history. The deal closed, and they got a great price on it, and an acre of land in South County, because they weren't afraid to ask, how do I fix these old floors? So that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick.